When you hear Filipina in America, a persistent, almost cinematic stereotype often comes to mind. The devoted nanny, the tireless nurse, the invisible backbone of a wealthy household. But what if the woman you assumed was managing the estate actually owned the entire zip code? Today, we are shattering the ultimate cultural illusion. We are counting down the richest Filipino women in America, culminating in a phantom billionaire who controls a massive tech empire without a single public photograph. Forget the stereotypes. These women are the house. Number 4. Sheila Lirio-Marcelo, the caregiving architect. For generations, the global perception of the Filipino workforce has been heavily intertwined with the concept of care. Across the world, they are the ones looking after the children of the elite, nursing the sick, and maintaining the quiet, essential functions of daily domestic life. It is an honorable, deeply vital role, but it is one that has historically been marginalized and severely undercompensated. Sheila Lirio-Marcelo looked at this deeply ingrained cultural stereotype, analyzed the broken, fragmented market of domestic labor, and decided to completely revolutionize it through the power of Silicon Valley technology. She did not just provide care. She monetized and scaled the entire infrastructure of caregiving, turning a universal human need into a digital empire. Her journey began far from the tech incubators of California. Born in Baguio to a family of educators, Sheila's early life was profoundly shaped by two intersecting forces: a deep capacity for empathy and an absolutely relentless ambition. She possessed a brilliant, multifaceted mind, eventually earning a highly prestigious double degree in law and business from Harvard University. Following her elite education, she spent years climbing the grueling ranks of corporate leadership and management consulting. However, her true eureka moment was not born in a boardroom, but from a point of intense personal frustration. Like millions of working mothers, she hit a severe personal pain point. She was constantly struggling to find reliable, trustworthy childcare while desperately trying to juggle her demanding career and her responsibilities as a mother. Instead of accepting this systemic failure as an inevitable reality of modern womanhood, she did exactly what legendary founders do. She built the solution herself. In 2006, recognizing a massive void in the market, Sheila launched Care.com. This was not merely a directory, it was the world's first large-scale marketplace specifically designed for caregivers, seamlessly connecting desperate families with heavily vetted babysitters, specialized tutors, and professional elder care providers. She applied rigorous, tech-driven algorithms to a sector that had previously relied on neighborhood bulletin boards and word of mouth. The growth of Care.com was nothing short of explosive. What originated as a side idea to solve a personal headache rapidly evolved into a monolithic global platform spanning more than 20 countries and serving millions of users worldwide. Under her fierce leadership, the company went public in 2014, making her one of the incredibly rare immigrant women to successfully navigate an IPO on the global stage. The ultimate validation of her genius arrived 6 years later, when the company was acquired for nearly $500 million. This was the kind of massive, generational exit that permanently cements a founder's legacy in the history books of Silicon Valley. But Sheila's true power lies in her refusal to simply take the money and vanish. She built policy advocacy directly into her product. She utilized her immense platform and newly minted wealth to aggressively lobby for paid family leave, subsidized childcare support, and the fundamental empowerment of women in the technology sector. Today, she continues to wield her influence across new, cutting-edge ventures, proving that true wealth is not just about accumulating capital. It is about rewriting the societal rules that govern how we live and care for one another. Number 3. Loida Nicolas Lewis, the unstoppable corporate comeback. If Sheila Lirio-Marcelo built her fortune by creating an entirely new market, our next visionary secured her multi-billion-dollar empire by walking into the fiery wreckage of an existing one. Loida Nicolas Lewis represents what financial historians might call the ultimate corporate comeback story. While the vast majority of millionaires and billionaires are born into generational wealth and highly insulated trust funds, Loida had instead inherited a devastating high-stakes crisis. Her journey from a grieving widow to the undisputed queen of a global conglomerate is a masterclass in resilience, strategic brilliance, and ice-cold nerve under unimaginable pressure. Born in Sorsogon and armed with a rigorous law degree from the University of the Philippines, Loida was inherently the overachiever type. A woman who fundamentally understood how to break established rules politely, yet devastatingly effectively. Her sheer intellect became undeniable when she moved to New York and made history by becoming the first Filipina to successfully pass the notoriously difficult New York bar exam without possessing a U.S. law degree. She followed this astonishing feat by earning a master's degree from Columbia University. For years, she lived a relatively quiet, highly respectable life, working steadily as an immigration attorney at the Immigration and Naturalization Service, slowly climbing the bureaucratic ranks while dedicating herself to raising a family. Her life was forever tied to immense power through her husband, Reginald F. Lewis, an absolute titan of finance who was widely celebrated as one of America's first black billionaires. Reginald was the mastermind behind TLC Beatrice International, a colossal food and beverage conglomerate. But in 1993, unimaginable tragedy struck. Reginald passed away shockingly and suddenly. In the immediate chaotic aftermath of his death, Wall Street analysts and ruthless corporate raiders circled the company like vultures. All of a sudden, Loida found herself violently thrust into the CEO chair of a staggering $2.2 billion global conglomerate that operated across 31 different countries. The financial establishment had absolutely no faith in her. Everyone in the fiercely patriarchal world of 1990s finance expected her to fail, with whispers echoing through Wall Street that the grieving widow would swiftly sell off the massive business at a discount or simply fade away into polite, quiet retirement. They vastly underestimated the iron will of a Filipina lawyer. Loida walked directly into that hostile boardroom, completely straightened her shoulders, and proceeded to run TLC Beatrice with a level of operational brilliance that put most Ivy League-trained executives to absolute shame. She did not flinch. She aggressively restructured toxic debts, ruthlessly streamlined bloated global operations, and ultimately executed a masterstroke by selling the revitalized company at a massive, undeniable profit in 1999. She transformed from a grieving widow into a legendary boardroom boss, not merely surviving the crisis, but systematically building a massive $900 million personal empire. Today, her vast fortune spans diverse, high-yield investments, prime real estate, and extensive philanthropic ventures that actively uplift marginalized immigrant communities. Through her highly endowed foundation, she funnels millions into scholarships, vital legal programs, and critical leadership training for Filipinos and other minorities across the United States. Loida Nicolas Lewis stared down the absolute apex of American corporate power, played their game on her terms, and won definitively. Number 2. Josie Natori, the queen of luxury and silk. While Loida Nicolas Lewis dominated the brutal, masculine world of corporate takeovers, our next mogul conquered an equally ruthless arena: the high-stakes, hyper-exclusive world of global luxury fashion. Josie Natori is a woman who fundamentally understood that true power does not just come from controlling capital, it comes from dictating taste. She is the undisputed fashion and manufacturing queen, a visionary who completely redefined what Filipino craftsmanship means on the global stage. Her origin story is deeply rooted in the rigid, unforgiving architecture of high finance. Born in Manila, Josie was a prodigious, relentless overachiever who could seamlessly crunch complex financial models as easily as she could conceptualize breathtaking avant-garde designs. After relocating to New York to pursue her higher education at Manhattanville College, she set her sights on the ultimate epicenter of global wealth, Wall Street. Armed with a razor-sharp analytical mind, she joined the legendary investment bank Merrill Lynch. In an era when the financial sector was famously operated as a notoriously exclusive old boys club, Josie aggressively shattered impenetrable glass ceilings, rising rapidly to become one of the firm's youngest female vice presidents in its history. She had conquered Wall Street, but the purely transactional nature of investment banking left her deeply unfulfilled. The defining, tectonic shift in her life occurred in 1977, when she made the incredibly audacious decision to completely walk away from her highly lucrative career in finance. She literally swapped stocks for silk. The catalyst for this multi-million-dollar empire was remarkably simple: A friend had sent her a beautiful set of intricately embroidered blouses directly from the Philippines. Looking at the delicate stitching, Josie, with her expertly honed financial instincts, realized something that the rest of the global fashion industry had entirely missed. She recognized that the breathtaking, unparalleled artistry of traditional Filipino craftsmanship absolutely deserved a premium, highly lucrative place on the global luxury stage. Driven by this singular vision, she officially launched the Natori Company, a pioneering luxury fashion and lifestyle brand that masterfully blended rich, intricate Eastern heritage with sleek, modern Western design silhouettes. Her aesthetic intuition was flawless. By 1983, her incredibly luxurious lingerie and high-end resort lines were dominating the elite racks of the world's most prestigious department stores, including Bloomingdale's and Saks Fifth Avenue. However, her true genius lay in her operational supply chain. Unlike the vast majority of prominent fashion designers who coldly outsourced their production to the cheapest, most exploitative overseas factories, Josie remained fiercely loyal to her roots. She constructed her own sophisticated, vertically integrated manufacturing operations right back home in the Philippines, directly employing over 500 highly skilled Filipino artisans. Her sprawling empire, which now seamlessly encompasses high-end home decor, premium fragrances, and globally celebrated ready-to-wear collections, is structurally built upon this commitment to sustaining local livelihoods. Operating from her massive, jaw-dropping penthouse in Manhattan, Josie Natori orchestrates a fashion conglomerate that proves elegance, cultural pride, and massive profitability are not mutually exclusive. Number 1. Susan Ocampo, the ghost billionaire of Silicon Valley. We now arrive at the absolute apex of our countdown. If the prevailing stereotype is that Filipinas in America are merely the invisible nannies working quietly in the mansions of Beverly Hills, then Susan Ocampo is the ultimate, reality-shattering paradox. She is the woman who holds the keys to the future. She is the undisputed crown jewel of Silicon Valley, commanding a staggering net worth estimated at over $2.3 billion by 2025. Yet, despite wielding financial power that rivals the GDP of small nations, you will not find her on the cover of Forbes. You will not find her curating a lavish lifestyle on Instagram. In fact, almost no one in the general public even knows what she truly looks like. She is the ghost billionaire of the tech world, engineering her legacy entirely in the shadows. Susan's incredible, multi-billion-dollar story is the absolute epitome of what happens when staggering intellectual brilliance meets unwavering boldness and fundamentally refuses to blink in the face of insurmountable odds. Born and raised in the Philippines, she emigrated to the United States in the early 1980s, carrying with her a brilliant, mathematically gifted head for complex numbers and a lethal, highly accurate instinct for technological innovation. She did not arrive in California to serve the elite. She arrived to build the architecture that the elite would eventually rely upon. In 1984, she took a massive, calculated risk and co-founded a highly specialized semiconductor company known as Sirenza Micro Devices. This was a breathtakingly bold maneuver. During this specific era, Silicon Valley was an intensely insular, male-dominated fortress where the history books were exclusively written by engineers, and women were still violently fighting just to get a basic seat inside the laboratory, let alone command the executive boardroom. But Susan Ocampo was absolutely not there to act as an assistant. She was there to aggressively lead and dominate the market. Serving as the company's brilliant chief financial officer and treasurer, she rapidly evolved into the master financial architect behind the firm's spectacular, unstoppable rise. She masterfully steered the company through highly volatile, capital-intensive research and development breakthroughs. She single-handedly scaled their global production capabilities and ruthlessly secured highly lucrative supply chain partnerships across Asia, doing so at a time when the entire global chip fabrication industry was still largely in its chaotic infancy. Under her relentless, mathematically precise stewardship, the firm exponentially grew from a scrappy, unknown component manufacturer into a dominant world-class semiconductor supplier. This incredible journey culminated in a massive, landmark initial public offering in the year 2000, permanently cementing her highly coveted place among the quiet, untouchable powerhouses of Silicon Valley. But the true measure of Susan Ocampo's limitless ambition was revealed in her next move. When her wildly successful company was ultimately acquired for a massive premium in 2007, she did not take her nine-figure payout and retire to a private island. She did not fade from the radar. Instead, she aggressively doubled down, strategically reinvesting her massive financial windfall directly back into the very technological ecosystem she had helped to create. Operating completely out of the public eye, she utilized a highly sophisticated web of private venture vehicles and strategic investment stakes to permanently position herself at the absolute center of next-generation microchip innovation. She deployed hundreds of millions of dollars into companies developing cutting-edge AI accelerators, massive data center processing units, and hyper-advanced energy-efficient sensor networks. These are the exact invisible, critical components that currently drive everything from modern autonomous vehicles to the infrastructure of global smart cities. Today, the cornerstone of her mind-boggling $2.3 billion fortune is her massive, highly strategic equity position in Macom Technology Solutions. This company is universally recognized by industry insiders as one of the most vital, promising names in the fiercely competitive global artificial intelligence hardware space. While the rest of the world obsessively talks about software applications and social media platforms, Susan Ocampo literally owns the physical hardware that makes the entire digital universe possible. She operates with the terrifying, silent efficiency of the very semiconductors she manufactures. In a culture utterly obsessed with viral fame, loud displays of wealth, and constant public validation, she has chosen the ultimate luxury: absolute, unassailable invisibility. She proves that the most powerful people in the room are very rarely the loudest. In the end, while the vast majority of massive global fortunes are simply inherited through bloodlines or discovered by sheer dumb luck, the Ocampo legacy is entirely different. It was meticulously, flawlessly engineered, built one silicon chip, one massive breakthrough, and one generation at a time. She did not just shatter the stereotype. She bought the building it was housed in, completely rewired it, and kept the deed entirely hidden from the world. And this concludes our jaw-dropping journey through the empires of the richest Filipinas in America. They have conquered the boardrooms of Wall Street, dominated the luxury fashion houses of Manhattan, and engineered the fundamental bedrock of Silicon Valley. Which one of these extraordinary wealth-building female moguls impressed you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And for more fascinating, in-depth peeks into the secretive lives of the ultra-rich, make sure to subscribe to Her Status. Would you like me to uncover the wealthiest self-made women in another major industry next?